Welcome to Focus Daily TV. Hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel, Cash App, Patreon at Focus Daily TV. So, how does all of this relate? What is the significance of our black people lost in the land of Oz? In the late 1800s, early 1900s, a group of foreigners, a group of crafty council began to disenfranchise the children of God, to steal from the temple of God. When they first arrived on the shores of what is known as America, the people of this land allowed them to work, allowed them to import and export goods, allowed them to be a part of this kingdom in a economic capacity. However, shortly after their arrival, they began to plot on how that they can take from this kingdom, how they can make this kingdom theirs. So what I'm hopefully pointing out is how exactly the thievery began, and also the law, according to the Bible, the word. We're going to get into a little bit of the word right now. Nineveh to fall. An attacker advances against you, Nineveh. Guard your fortress. Watch the road. Brace yourselves. Marshal all your strength. The Lord will restore the splendor of Jacob like the splendor of Israel. Though destroyers have laid them waste and have ruined their vines, the shield of the soldiers are red cross. The warriors are clad in scarlet. The metal of the chariots flashes, and on the day they were made ready, the spears of juniper are brandished. The chariots storm through the streets, rushing back and forth through the squares. They look like flaming torches. They dart about like lightning. Nineveh summoned her picked warriors, yet they stumble on their way. They dash to the city wall. The protective shield is put in place. The river gates are thrown open and the palace collapses. It is decreed that Nineveh be exiled and carried away. Her female slaves moan like doves and beat on their breasts. Nineveh is like a pool whose water is draining away. Stop, stop, they cry, but no one turns back. Plunder the silver, plunder the gold. The supply is endless, the wealth from all its treasures. So, when the foreigners arrived on this soil, all they seen was silver and gold, endless treasure. And they immediately began to plot on how to disenfranchise, once again, the Afro-Americans, the children of God. So today, we're going to get a little bit into the gold standard and what exactly the gold standard is. Now, how this applies to the Wizard of Oz allegory is, Dorothy was going down the yellow brick road. She was following the goal, trying to find out exactly how she found herself lost in the land of Oz. So this is a similar example of what I'm doing. I'm following the goal. I'm trying to show the people exactly what occurred and how us as Afro-Americans ended up in the situation we find ourselves today. Still working on my production a little bit. Bear with me. But in the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel at Cash App, Patreon, Focus Daily TV. A gold standard is a monetary system in which the standard economic unit of account is based on a fixed quantity of gold. The gold standard was the basis of the international monetary system from the 1870s, the late 1800s, to the early 1920s. See, this robbery just occurred. Things that the Bible speak of just recently occurred. They like to put us into that dream state, awe state, to make us think all of this occurred a long time ago, to make us think that the Pilgrims arrived in 1492 and immediately took over. It didn't happen in that way. All of this actually happened a couple of grandmothers ago, from the late 1920s to 1932, as well as from 1944 until 1971, when the United States unilaterally terminated convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold, effectively ending the Bretton Woods system. Many states nonetheless hold substantial gold reserves. So if you study your history, it eventually even got to the point where if you were caught hoarding gold or not wanting to turn over your gold to the foreign invaders, you were declared an enemy of the state. We spoke about that yesterday with the trading with the Enemies Act. Historically, the silver standard and bimetallism have been more common than the gold standard. The shift to an international monetary system based on a gold standard reflected accident, network externalities, and path dependence. Let's go back and look at the word. So, Nineveh is a pool whose water is draining away. Stop, stop, they cry, but nobody turns back. Plunder the silver, plunder the gold, the endless supply. The supply is endless. So this is what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to unravel the mystery of the word and allow people to see that God is truly in control. And through his son, his king, Jesus Christ, see down here, Nineveh, or what is currently known as America, shall be restored to her glory. But first, this truth shall make us all free. Great Britain accidentally adopted a de facto gold standard in 1717 when Sir Isaac Newton, then master of the Royal Mint, set the exchange rate of silver to gold too low, thus causing silver coins to go out of circulation. As Britain became the world's leading financial and commercial power in the 19th century, other states increasingly adopted Britain's monetary system. This is all code. I'm not going to get too deep into the code words, but I just need you to just pay attention because we're speaking about how the silver and the gold got plundered, how the endless supply ended up across seas funding every major civilization that exists. France, Germany, Russia, England, Switzerland, the Dutch, they all get their funding from right here, and they all was connected with this robbery of the temple. The gold standard was largely abandoned during the Great Depression before being reinstated in a limited form as part of the post-World War II Bretton Woods system. The gold standard, that limited form, that was like to get any last remaining remnants. They opened up gold exchange again for a short time to get anybody who was holding back to relinquish that. The gold standard was abandoned due to its propensity for volatility, as well as the constraints it imposed on governments. By retaining a fixed exchange rate, governments were hamstrung in engaging in expansionary policies to, for example, reduce unemployment during economic recession. So, while placing people into this dreamlike land of Oz like state, they also made the people believe that through set up recessions and set up depressions and intentional stock market crashes, made the people believe that they could only survive by putting their faith in the Federal Reserve. Now, in the Bible, this is known as worshiping other gods, depending on idols of wood and silver and gold to take care of them, rather than continuing to place their faith in the Father who had given them so much prosperity. According to a survey of 39 economists, the majority agreed that a return to the gold exchange would not improve price stability and employment outcomes. And 2/3 of economic historians reject the idea that the gold standard was effective in stabilizing prices and moderating business cycle fluctuations during the 19th century. Nonetheless, according to economist Michael D. Bordeaux, the gold standard has three benefits. Its record as a stable nominal anchor, its automaticity, and its role as a credible commitment mechanism. Okay, that's it for the gold standard right now. And yeah, as always, focus daily, y'all.